I got good news and I got bad news about leadership. Bad news. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard because it's personal. It's hard because it requires you to be persistent and consistent. You got to do it every day, and you got to be consistent when you do it. You can't look at your front office and say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my good leadership days. Tuesday, Thursday sucks to be you. Doesn't work that way. And you can't be a good leader when you want to be. You have to be a good leader when they need you to be. So let's get this straight. There's plenty of options about how to do it. There's no right or wrong answer. People want to be well-led and are waiting for it. Leaders want to lead well. Ray Charles can see this. This should be easy. So my question to you is, what gets in the way? What gets in the way? What makes it hard? If I'm looking at you, it doesn't mean you need to talk, but it's an indicator. The very thing that makes people unique and special and magical, some people think that's what gets in the way of leadership. Exactly the opposite. If you can harness those energies and harness those personalities and harness those emotions, they'll do things you never thought they could. It's the difference between management and leadership, and there is a difference. Management is a clipboard and a task list. Management is a clipboard and a task list. It's directive. It's the stuff you got to do today. It's directive. Leadership is connective. You got to connect with somebody. You got to make that personal connection. I'm your leader. They're looking at you going, I'll let you know. Maybe you are, maybe you ain't. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how are you structured? How are you wired? How many of you have had somebody in your life, a professional, a personal, a romantic, a social relationship, where at the initial part of the relationship, as it's starting to get going, you drive away one time and you say to yourself, I would love to give this person what they wanted. I wish I just knew what it was. You ever had that happen? Yeah. I'd love to give them what they want. I just wish I knew what it was. My question is, how many people that work for you are saying that about you? How many people are walking out of your office nodding like this, going, got it, going out in the hallway standing, I have no flipping idea what he wants me, what you want. I have no idea. It's funny now. It ain't so funny outside in the hallway. How are you structured? How are you wired? What's important to you? Do your people know your CCIRs? Do they know your critical information requirements? Do they know what motivates you and what you do when you make a decision? Do they know how you process information? Is it time? Is it money? What drives you to make a decision? Do they know? Because I'll tell you, if you don't tell them, they're out in the hallway trying to figure out how you want it and what you want, not how they get it to you. They're not spending their energy getting you what you want. They're trying to figure out what you want. So how are you wired? How are you structured? Take the time to tell them. So they want your help establishing, identifying, balancing, and mitigating risk. Because if you're in business in the 21st century in the world today, I guarantee one thing, you are not in a risk-averse environment. There is risk all around us. There are risks we couldn't think about. Can you imagine those poor people in Rio trying to put the Olympics together? They're war-gaming out everything that could possibly happen. I guarantee 2 years ago when they were doing this and they were figuring it out, I guarantee, I don't know what was on the sheet, I guarantee Ryan Lochte and Zika virus were not on the sheet as threats. But they happened. Best bosses I ever had. Best boss I ever had, I was a captain, was an aide to a 2-star, Major General John Mitchell, the greatest officer I ever saw. Was working away like no tomorrow. I was following him around every day. I was his aide. I was with him. He was working himself into the ground, starting early, coming in late, doing a lot of things. One day I looked at him and I said, sir, you're killing yourself. What are you doing? He looked at me like I had a third eye growing out of my head. And his answer riveted me. He said, Vinny, I'm an officer in the United States Army and I am privileged to serve. I will not miss this opportunity to serve. When I had the privilege of giving his eulogy at Arlington National Cemetery, I told people before I worked for him, I was a captain. After I worked for him, I knew what it meant to be an officer. I didn't know what it meant to be an officer till I worked for him. Then I got to know what it meant. So the best bosses made it about developing me. They made it about the legacy they left. Here's the way you'll know. What type of leader are you? Do you walk in the room and it's, here I am? You've been around those leaders, right? Or do you walk in the room and go, there you are? What type of leader are you? Your job is to build an organization and lead an organization and connect with people in such a way that they can handle the future when it breaks upon them. You build a job for the future that comes at you. You can be one of two leaders. You can stand there and when things come say, I hope I can handle what comes. Or you can build a team saying, our team's going to take on what comes. It's up to you. If this was easy, we'd contract it out.